I once got a comment on one of my videos saying I keep talking about repotting all the time. And it is true, I do bang on about repotting and checking the health of the roots pretty often. But there's a reason, well, a few of them. There's actually a bit of a trigger that made me do this video. I was cleaning up a table and found a succulent that is usually very hardy, however it seemed the bottom leaves were rotting. Let me show you. This is Echeveria exotica, a really lovely and tough hybrid. I've grown hundreds of these plants, raised them outdoors in all sorts of weather and never ever had an issue. So I was surprised to see the black rotting leaves, but look what's hiding underneath. It's definitely not what I was expecting, but I've seen this before. Grubs mostly feed on roots of plants, but they seem to like succulent leaves too. They would have kept going until the exotica is dead. These are usually found in lawns or the garden and are larvae of a scarab beetles. And there's never just one. When I talk to people about this, many seem surprised grubs are a possibility in potted succulents. If I haven't seen this before and it was my first time growing the exotica, my initial thought would probably be that the plant is rotting due to wet, humid weather. And some would probably feel like the plant is already past the point of no return, especially if you've seen a succulent die from rot before. But this plant is very much salvageable. All that needs to be done is to clean off the damaged leaves and repot into fresh potting mix. So if you do see a struggling succulent with leaves that are rotting away, do check the roots and repot. It may just save them. Here is one of the most compelling reasons why checking roots and repotting is important. On the outside, this Echeveria marom is not looking too bad, but look what is lurking on the roots. Meet root mealybugs. These little buggers live below ground and feed off roots. They don't affect all succulents the same, but can cause major decline in smaller plants that don't have well-developed root systems. More concerning is the speed at which they spread. If you find these, you'll have to check all the surrounding plants too. They can sometimes be hard to spot, but the white residue on the inside of the pot is a good telltale sign. While root mealybugs can be treated to a degree with hot water of 46 degrees Celsius or 115 Fahrenheit and or pyrethrum, with succulents I tend to just chop off the affected roots and dispose. This Echeveria will send roots down in no time. I'm first going to give it a good cleanse in warm water just to make sure there's no mealies left on the stalk. If you want to reuse the pot, soak it in boiling hot water to kill any remaining mealies. Next up is fungus. While most of the time it is pretty harmless, it can degrade the potting mix and hamper growth. This Haworthia cymbiformis spot is about to get colonized by a fungus. All those little white clumps are the start and would eventually spread through the whole pot. Because my potting mix contains spinebark fines, this does occasionally happen despite them being composted and the mix getting sterilized. Fungus spores travel in the air and occasionally end up in even the cleanest of potting mix. The little cones with what looks like black seeds is another common form of fungus found in potted plants. It's said to be harmless, but in my experience succulents don't like to share their pot with it. When you look at the potting mix, it's bound by white matter which feeds on dead organic bits. Almost all succulents that get this fungus in their pot don't grow all that well. But as soon as I wash the roots off and repot into fresh potting mix and a clean pot, they bounce back pretty much immediately. Some of you may wonder why I wouldn't just change the potting mix to something that doesn't have organic material such as wood chip, and indeed many websites online do recommend grit-only potting mix for succulents because of the fungus danger. The thing is, I have tried and it didn't work well for all succulents, especially during extreme weather conditions such as heat waves. I've used this potting mix for well over 400 different succulent cultivars and it just works consistently well. The fungus problem is an issue only occasionally and can be treated with a fungicide. The fourth reason repotting is important is rootbound plants. While this Echeveria glauca looks fine now, it is already starting to lose bottom leaves due to the roots reaching the limit of the pot and using up all the nutrients within it. The leaf loss is going to get only worse once the warm months return. There are two options. One is to repot into a bigger pot and two to repot into the same pot. I have a video on how to repot into the same pot tagged at the end. Not all plants suffer equally when rootbound, and some can look really nice as they get more compact and colourful. But I'd still recommend to check the roots, as rootbound succulents are more attractive to root mealybugs. In my personal opinion and experience, repotting and or checking the health of the roots about once per year can save a succulent from decline, prevent spread of pests and fungus. If you see a succulent struggling, repotting can make it grow well again. There are, however, problems even repotting cannot fix. For instance, when a sunlover succulent is grown indoors or in too much shade, no amount of repotting is going to make it grow well. And that's all for now on repotting. I'll promise I'll try not to mention it again for a little while. If you have anything to add or a question, leave a comment below and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. If you'd like to learn more about succulents, you can subscribe to my channel or visit succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you very much for watching.